Jimenez with a high drive. Deep right center. Castellanos track. Wall gone! Andres Jimenez with a towering home run.
Swing and a miss. Tanner Bybee blows it by him. Swing and a miss. He got him to chase that time. A great changeup from Tanner Bybee.
And he swings and lines one to deep left field. This ball is gone! It's a line drive, grand slam home run into the Cleveland bullpen in left. And Jose Ramirez with the first grand slam of the year for Cleveland. The pitch, and he drives one to deep right center. There she goes! 4-0 Cleveland. How about that? Josh Naylor. A bomb last night to left center. A bomb tonight to right center.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Living the Guard Life. I made that new intro, but apparently I made it really crappy where you could still see kind of some of our background video, so I apologize for that. But guess what? I'm not very good at this. I'm Jacob. That's Nick. Down there is Roger. We always, as always, are brought to you by our friends over at Homage Apparel. I got the Flying G on tonight. We got the hot dogs ones. Look at that. I am here for hot dogs.
I'm here for the hot dogs.
I love it.
We appreciate you guys. Subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Check us out on the Discord. We're posting bets every day, winners every day, especially on the MLB slate. Zach and his team over there really way more positive days than they have negative days. That subscription pays for itself. So check them out over there. Guys, how are we doing this fine Sunday evening?
You know what? I actually was in person for the one loss in Pittsburgh, but that's okay because we took 2 of 3 there. And now, here as we sit on Sunday, I think this is going to release on Monday, we took 2 of 3 from Philly. And I would have loved to win today. That David Fry home run was really exciting, and I know we're going to get into that. But I think overall, I'm looking at it, and you've taken 4 of 6, and that's a pretty good place to be. So I'm feeling pretty good. You're 3 games out. How about you, Roger? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. You know what? I was 1 triple away from hitting my and David Fry is a ball player.
Yeah.
Man, I love that kid. If I wore jerseys, and it has nothing to do with having another guy's name. I don't care about that. I got 3 sons, and they're really expensive. But if I were to buy a baseball jersey, it'd be a David Fry jersey today. I'd buy one if that were in the budget. Man, I love that kid. What a ball player. Man, I enjoyed the last, since we've been here, the last 6 days of baseball. You know, we come away 4-2. You know, there's nothing to complain about with that. We played a good Phillies team. Man, I've had a good time enjoying some baseball over the last week.
How about that Tanner Bybee kid, man?
Tanner Bybee, wow. Yeah, man, he went out. He was last night, he went toe-to-toe with a really good pitcher against a really good ball team, man, with a great lineup. And he didn't crumble. How about Gavin Williams? He didn't have his best stuff, and he went out there.
He battled.
And he battled, man. He didn't have his fastball wasn't working. He threw a lot of pitches, and he still held him in check. A good ball club and a good lineup, man.
You know,
I love our young pitching.
With the game Tanner Bybee threw, it was funny because we got to the 9th inning and they were just, the announcers were talking. I wish I could credit who, but they were like, it's not often you see a 1-0 baseball game these days, but here we are. And you know what? Somebody said that Tanner Bybee would get to double-digit wins on their season-long prediction. And I got to say, I'm feeling pretty good about it because my weekly predictions are trash. So that is how that stands. But no, you know what? Bybee is he's fun to watch. His pitches have so much movement on them. I just think he comes out so confidently all the time. I noticed, I'm not sure why, he wasn't wearing his glasses the last time, or like the eyewear that he normally does. And I was like, is this a new Tanner Bybee look? Well, it's working for him. I don't know what's going on there, but that was a stellar performance. And it's really encouraging, especially when the bullpen is having the struggles it is. When you're getting those types of performances out of your starting pitching, I think that's all the more important. So I really like that from the perspective of when we're looking down the pipe of the rest of the season, that type of pitching is, especially in Savali too, has been continued to be really good. I think I'm really encouraged about where the starting pitching is at right now.
Yeah.
I will say though that intro was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You like that intro, Roger? I did it for you.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Did you like that intro? I made it for you.
I wanted to say I love the intro, man. You got Hammy in there. I said to you a couple of weeks ago, hey, is there any way we could get Hammy to? You had to look into it.
I did. I looked into it. I just need to fix the fact that it didn't cover the whole screen. I had no idea. I just hit it and played, and then you could see me and Nick's heads moving at the top. And I was like,
you know what? I saw that. Just you could barely see it. And man, what a great! I love the intro. I loved it, man.
I had to get some Naylor and some Jose home runs in there, and I actually happened to record the Jimenez home run because I was recording something else and it was in the background while I was recording something, so I was able to strip the audio from that. It just so happened, and then I was like, "Oh, I got a good idea," and then I found some Bybee audio. Yeah, man. Okay, so I said they would sweep the Pirates. They should have swept the Pirates. We're here. We're here. But 4-2, man. Like we talked about this. We've talked about it on this show many times. Finding ways to win series because you're going to get swept. They've only been swept twice, which is still kind of really nice. I mean, even against all the good teams they played, they find ways to win. So this is a good Phillies team, man. And also, where the hell did Bryce Harper's first base defense come from? Dude had never played first base in his life. He gets out there and has 2 really good days.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing. Like all of a sudden, he's Fred McGriff out there, the crime dog.
That was so frustrating. I think even he was surprised he caught that ball. Because there was a play where Bryce catches the ball, and I think it was
Stephen Kwan.
It was Stephen Kwan. I was going to say Stephen Kwan. I wasn't sure. But Bryce caught it so quickly, and Kwan thought it was going. So he gets picked off, and it's like an immediate double play, and that was just a killer. It sometimes, you make great contact like that. It's a ball that looks like it should leave the infield, get some guys moving, and that's just the way it goes. That's baseball. Yeah, I think I'm happy. I'm happy the contact's being made. It's sometimes you hit it right to him. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because they were making a big deal talking about it on the radio about Bryce Harper, he's never played first base in the majors, I think he had played first base in high school or something. He had played it somewhere years and years ago, and they were talking about that. And then all of a sudden, you could tell it was a great play. The Kwan one, I wasn't watching, I was listening, and Hammy got out of his seat for it. He was like, how did he come down you're like, okay, it is what it is. But I go ahead.
No, I was just going to say with a guy like Bryce Harper, he's one of the guys like Soto and Mercado in San Diego who came up like a Ken Griffey. He came up under 20 years old, and he's playing Major League Baseball. That tells me he could probably play a little first base. But when I seen him make that play, who I thought of was Ron Washington, or the actor who played Ron Washington, in Moneyball, when he's sitting there telling him when Brad Pitt's telling him, "Hey, don't worry, first base is easy. Tell him, Wash." He's like, "It's extremely difficult," or whatever the line was. It's just a guy like Bryce Harper go out and play first base. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he hadn't been in the field in over a year.
But right, yeah, I was like, oh, of course,
since he'd had the Tommy John surgery, or since before he had the Tommy John surgery. So I think there's been a lot of discourse, I think, over the last few days about where the team's headed and who's playing and who's not. But, I choose to look at the things that I really, really like. And, a few weeks ago on this show, we started telling you about that guy named David Fry. He keeps finding ways out. Listen, if you're not going to play Bo Naylor, and I've voiced my opinions about how much they are or aren't playing Bo Naylor, stop playing Cam Gallagher. I understand if you're going against some lefties, and that's typically what we've seen. Although I do understand when Bieber's healthy, because Bieber has only been caught by Gallagher this year, I believe, was what they had been, or at least since Zunino's gone. But like, so I understand like if there's a pairing like that or something, but like stop play, put David Fry back there. David Fry's really good. I like David Fry a lot behind the plate. I think it's crazy that he's behind the plate and he can play in the outfield and he does all these things. And if you're not wanting to play Bo Naylor against left-handed starters, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But don't stop playing Cam Gallagher. Stop playing Cam Gallagher. David Fry, he goes up there. He's not going to, I don't know. He's probably not the flashiest player, but like he just figures out, like he's got a little bit of that like the thing that makes Jose so special, where Jose can he can hit a home run, or he can double, or he can single, or he can sack fly, or he can bunt, whatever. Like Jose can do it all. Sometimes David Fry has a little bit of that in his game. I just think it's really fun to watch these young players that you didn't know out of nowhere. Like, did we talk about David Fry going into this season? I don't remember talking about David Fry going into this season, but he gets some time out there. He has a few, there's a few errors there. I was at the game that he plays him right and he just kind of drops it, doesn't get it, so there's been some growing pains at times there, but like, if you're trying to figure out better ways to win games, I think guys like David Fry need to be in the lineup more often.
I mean, like, I know this is a really limited sample size, but in his 62 at-bats, David Fry's batting .290.
Yeah.
I mean, that feels pretty good. I would imagine. I haven't
It's good enough to get more at-bats.
Yeah. And I haven't looked at Bo Naylor's stats, but I imagine currently David Fry is probably getting a hit the most often of all of your catchers.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think the Guardians lineup as a whole has been hitting better. And so it's really nice. It's very encouraging to see. You know what? I felt like when I know they don't win the game, right? I get that. But when they went down 5-4, it kind of felt like the game could just end there. And that was going to be a pretty frustrating loss, I feel like. And so for David Fry to hit that home run and to tie at 5, yes, they don't win the game, but they're still showing you that they're going to continuously work their way back into these games, and they're never going to say. And I feel like David Fry has been a nice little spark in the lineup that's helped them get to where they are. Because yes, you didn't sweep the Phillies, and yes, they probably could have. But when you're talking about taking 4 of 6, when you're talking about looking at the rest of the season here, I think it's encouraging.
Oh, absolutely. You know what, Nick, to your point, like last year, we always had that feeling like we're never out of a ball game, and then we start this season in April, we started out the first week. We're like, all right, man. And then it kind of, where we went. And there was a point in May, June, where we're down 2 runs in the 6th or the 5th. And I'm like, this game's over.
Yeah.
I didn't have that same feeling, but that's changed a lot in the month of July for me. Because today, even, before Fry hit the home run, I'm like, we're still in this thing. You know what I mean? My attitude, my mindset is kind of shifted because they've kind of shifted. Where they could come out and in the 8th inning, 9th inning, and they could put some runs on the board and win a ball game, or extra innings even, and win a ball game for you. So it's like you said, the lineup starting to come around. David Fry is just a ball player, man. He plays 5 positions. He's got 5 gloves in his bat bag. You know what I mean? He's got a catcher's mitt, an outfielder's mitt, an infield mitt, first baseman's mitt, and he even pitched an inning, didn't he? You know what I mean? He just that kid. He's a ball player. That's all you can say about him. And I love Jose Ramirez is a ball player. I'm sure a lot of people that watch us or they're a Guardians fan have seen the Jose on Sports Time Ohio. During rainouts, they played the whole thing about Jose's life and how he came about and how long it took for him to break in. And it wasn't for the Guardians. It probably would have missed out on a generational talent if it wasn't for the Indians at that time. Just a grit. And that's what that kid is, man. He's just all grit.
Nick, you're actually looking at non-updated stats because David Fry's hitting 303 right now.
Really?
Right?
Oh, wow.
And you know what? With David Fry and also with Freeman, he went 0 for 2 today, but he was hitting 300. Again, small sample size, small. but that's what they want to do. You don't want to send these kids out there like a lot of these people on Twitter expect or want you to do and put them out there 6 nights a week. 6 times 3, they're getting 18 to 20 at bats a week, and start watching that 300 go down to 160. You know what I mean? Because they're just not ready for it. But if you put them out there twice a week and they can maintain that 3 and they get a hit and they can maintain that positivity, you know what's the worst thing that happened to who was Mercado? All right. He was hitting number 2, hitting in the 2-hole. The following season, which would probably have been 19, they put him down to 9 and it completely shattered him. He's playing for somebody. I saw him out there in a game. But he was a top prospect. And when you do that mentally to a guy where he's hitting in the 2-hole, and I think the same thing kind of happened to Miles Straw going from a leadoff to hitting 9. I don't think he's ever mentally recovered from that. But if you even played on a bar softball team and the guy that runs it drops you from 2 to 9, it's not a good feeling. You know what I mean? And it's baseball's mental, man. 90% of baseball is mental, once you have the talent, to keep climbing back in that batter's box. So, I don't know, man. You don't want to put too much on these kids' plate, and that's what a lot of people are expecting. I had a guy tell me today, if you'll indulge me, where I talked to him about the Texas Rangers and the Orioles, how they spent the last 7 years losing 80, 90, and 100 games. He honestly said this, and then he deleted it right away, but I screenshot it and sent it back to him. We would be much happier if they just admitted to the rebuild and played all the young kids all the time. And I was like, so you're telling me you'd rather lose 80, 90, 100 games a year and be buried in the bottom of a bad division than compete for a division title while you're in the middle of a rebuild? I don't know which one I'd rather do, but it's just misery out there. Yeah. I screenshot it and said, no, buddy, I got this. I got a receipt.
And I think that's probably the biggest deal overall. Like if you look at the other divisions in baseball and you look at the Guardians team, they might very well be at the bottom of those divisions, but you're in such an advantageous situation where basically this division is allowing you to be competitive while rebuilding. Because I think it's really important to keep in mind, I like to think that after last year, after they made the playoff run, after they surprised everybody, because the narrative all last year was the Guardians aren't supposed to be this good yet. They're still early on in this process. And I feel like that type of that thinking there is really easy to just throw to the wayside when they do exceed expectations. But when they hit these bumps in the road and when they have some of the struggles, I think it's still important. If the smart people are telling you that this team is not supposed to be that good yet, it's at least important to keep that for a little bit of perspective. So I'm really excited that just, especially because, and I've talked about this a few different times in recent Guard Lives, but the Guardians are selling out. They're getting people down to the ballpark. They're getting 30,000 plus there. People, regardless of some people that want to be negative and say that we lost the division this weekend after losing one game in 3 times, the fans are clearly excited. And so I think it's such an amazing place to be where if you're telling me this is the rebuild, well, they are consistently flirting with first place, in first place, around first place. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Full steam ahead.
And that's what we've been Jacob and I were talking about before you joined us tonight. 7 out of 10 years, Tito's got us, or the front office, the Guardians have us, Indians/Guardians have us in August at the brink of maybe, you know what I mean? We're always right there. They have you. They don't have us like the fans in Pittsburgh or the fans in Oakland that just have to watch bad Kansas City, where you're just getting shelled every night. I don't see the problem.
Kansas City's already lost 73 games for what people are. That's 28. They're 28-73. They have a minus 169 run differential. That's what's going on in a rebuild in Kansas City. Yeah. So you're in Cleveland. You're 3 games back. You're 5.5 games back. Here's the interesting thing. They're only 5.5 games back in the wild card too. So you talk about stacking them up against other divisions, other than the fact that the AL East is, they all have winning records in the AL East somehow. I don't really know what's going on over there. It's crazy on that end. But the Guardians have a -1 run differential, so they're like the ultimate 500 team. They're 49-51. They have scored, or they're 49-50. They have scored nearly the same amount of runs as they have let up. They're really just feeling it out, and it's starting to be like, we've had this conversation here. Like right now, the hitting is picking up. The hitting is getting better. I think Tito has been. I know people all the time freak out about this lineup or that lineup, but I thought he's been very creative at times with the lineup in terms of like moving guys around, getting Fry playing time, he's got some guys that like, I think Arias still needs some more playing time. I'd like to see him and Freeman more at short, just because defensively, I love Rosario. I love what he does at the plate, but I would like to see some other guys get some reps defensively.
Yes.
They are, like today. They did today. But like you said, they're not getting thrown out to the wolves. I think that some of them need more at-bats than what they're getting, but I see it, Like I see the vision. I understand what you're trying to do, and you're trying to build a consistent winner. Like, I get it from a fan perspective that you want to win every year, because every year that you don't win, and by win, I mean the World Series. I mean a title. You want to contend every year. But we all do. I get that, because if not, we then have to wait another year until they do, right? So if they're not contenders this year, that's why like people like me, in the NFL world, a lot of people talked about, well, once Watson got that suspension last year, they punted on the season. Well, nobody wanted to hear that. And I don't think they fully punted. That's a conversation for a different podcast. But nobody ever wants to hear that, because you don't want to, as a fan, have to suffer through some things. But right now, you're not suffering through 73 losses.
Nope.
They're not going to lose 73 games this year. I don't think so. Maybe. But they might lose 73 games. But Kansas City already has, and it's not August yet. So, look at that. If you're a Cleveland fan, think of how you felt during 1-31. This is not the same thing. You're figuring things out. Bo Naylor at times has looked better. Gavin Williams, like you said, just battled through it. Tanner Bibey's the best pitcher in the rotation.
Logan Allen threw 5 great innings earlier.
Logan Allen comes back up and throws great.
Yes.
And then Curry's made 2 starts in bullpen games, and he's pitched really well. Yeah. And then you've got a guy, his name's Matt. He pitched an inning after Curry today. And is it Miller? Is that his name? I can't think about it. But anyway, he's a player, they said, that started his career in 2012, and he was out of baseball, and then finally gets a shot, and he's come out there and pitched pretty well for the Guardians a couple of games that he's pitched at. So you're just seeing these things, like they have bullpen problems right now. They don't have a lefty in the bullpen that is worth a shit right now. They don't. Hinches is bad. He lost it and he can't find it. Tim Herron was not good again. So lefty bullpen, I think middle relief guys, they need to figure something out. They've got some good guys that come in there and pitch like Curry, he comes in there and pitches well, and right now he's doing that long 3 innings at the beginning and doing these bullpen games. They only have 4 starters, blah blah blah. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But
it was Michael Kelly.
There we go.
And he threw an inning the other night. The same thing. 1 inning, he walked 1 guy. He didn't no damage, and he went and did his job. Yeah.
Yeah, and so where's this guy come out of? He's never been able to break into the bigs. Now he's breaking into the bigs, playing well. So I think the overall direction of this team is in a very, very good place. It's just maybe not 2023. And I still think they'll compete. I still think they can win the division. I still think they can get into the playoffs and do what they did last year and win a game and then push another team to the brink. They can do that. But if you look at it as a whole and you say, what are my deficiencies? What is keeping me from winning a World Series, not just necessarily in 23, but in the future? And it's really only a couple of things here and there, because overall, if they could write the bullpen right now, we're having a different conversation. We're talking about if the bullpen's right this past week, they don't go 4-2, they go 6-0.
Absolutely, they do.
Right. And Nick and I were talking about it. Over the next 20 games, 6 of them are against competing teams. They're Tampa Bay, and then down the road we're playing, I forget who. But 6 out of the next 20 games are really against teams that are over 500.
Yep.
You know, everybody else we're playing are the Royals, the White Sox, teams like. But there's 2 things you're doing in baseball. Well, 3 things you're doing in baseball after the All-Star break. You're either racing towards the pennant, you're chasing a pennant, or you're having a fire sale. And right now the Guardians are chasing a pennant. You know, teams like Baltimore, teams like Texas are chasing are racing to it. You know, the better teams are racing. Teams like the Guardians, we're chasing a pennant right now. And that's fun baseball, man. You know, and then we were talking before the show, it's going to be like this all the way to September.
Yeah.
Our division probably won't be decided until end of August, probably September, mid-September. I'm sorry. Mid-September, our division will be decided.
And
it's fun, man. We're chasing it, and it's good, fun baseball.
Well, both of you guys have just talked about basically the future and what we're looking at towards the end of the season here, and I think it's important to know something that really stuck out to me in the last week of the news cycle was just the report that the Guardians are looking to make potential additions.
I saw that
at the trade deadline. So the trade deadline is Tuesday, August 1st. So we've still got a little bit of time. As we record now, today is Sunday, July 23rd. So you're looking at what, like a
week?
Yeah,
over a week, 10 days.
So we'll see if something can materialize here. But I think the fact, because you don't often see reports of the Guardians, or at least in recent years, you haven't seen reports of the Guardians being active leading up to the trade deadline. I don't think you've seen many reports of that. So it definitely was stuck out to me as something of note that maybe this team will add a couple pieces. Maybe they will try and get somebody.
A lefty. Let me think. What I think you could get reasonably, and I don't know names. I'm not great with the entire major league, but give me a lefty reliever because they don't have one. And give me just one more righty. I mean, give me 2 relievers, one from both sides, and I think you got a team that's going to compete for the team. And I know it's a weak division, but guess what? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's people that got Savali on the trading block. Baltimore needs pitching.
Baltimore needs pitching.
Yeah.
They have Savali on the trading block on the hope that Bieber and McKenzie are healthy in August. The Guardians aren't going to operate like that. Savali isn't going anywhere, and they're certainly not going to send him to Baltimore. You know, if they send him anywhere,
it's going to be the NL. Yeah,
they're going to add a pitcher. They don't want to. Then they'd have to add 2. But that's the thing. They wanted another bat and a pitcher. But you hit it right on the head, Jacob. A left-handed reliever. We don't have a lefty in the bullpen, and we haven't I can't remember the last one, to be honest with you.
Sam Hentges last year.
But and Hentges was so good last year for us, you know, and this year he just doesn't have it. And you know, I'm considered a Tito apologist, and as much as I may do, I scratch my head when I see that kid coming out of the bullpen. You know, man, he doesn't look like running out to the bump. He doesn't have confidence. Look on his, a look of confidence. He looks terrified. I forget what game he came when I was watching, and the camera kind of on his face coming out, and he looked like the last place he wanted to be was going through that gate, headed to the mound. And they got to see this. And as much of an apologist I am for them in the front office, man, they got to do something with it. They got to get him out of there.
Well, I think the front office is showing you then with these, and who knows if they'll make moves. We don't know that yet. But at least the fact that there are reports of interest of them adding guys,
right,
that they know it's a problem and that they want to be competitive. And I think that's really all I could ask for at this point.
And Tito said that the other day in an interview. I'm driving, I'm listening. There's the day game against Pittsburgh, the one you were at, Nick. Before with Tom Hamilton, before talk to the manager, and he said, it's really difficult because we're trying to win a division and at the same time develop young players to build this ball club. You know, he came right out and said it. He's not pulling punch. He's not hiding. He's telling you, we're trying to win a division, and we're still trying to develop young ball players at the same time. You know, he's not hiding anything. There's no great conspiracy, Hiram. You know, Jesus, that guy. I love him.
I got blocked by Hiram like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Tito apparently never landed on the moon, according to Hiram, with all his conspiracies, man. Just ridiculous. But he came right out and told you we're trying to build a team and we're trying to win a division at the same time. It's a fine line, he said. You know, Pittsburgh Pirates don't have to worry about it. The Oakland A's, the Kansas City Royals aren't worried about that.
Nope.
You know, luckily we are. Was that hurt? Because these young guys are going to get some playoff experience or games, even if we don't make the playoffs, even if we don't win division, they're going to be in some heated games that are going to matter, that are going to have playoff-type atmosphere.
It's a good problem to have.
Towards the end of the year. There's no doubt about it, battling for this division. Even if they don't win it, there's going to be some playoff-type atmosphere ball games that they're going to play in this year. And that is, you can't replicate that when you're building a ball team.
So let's wrap this thing up with predictions. Not going so well. 2-4 for me, 1-5 for everybody else. So we're going to try to figure this thing out. We're going to try to right this ship. And I'm going to right this ship by saying that David Fry continues to hit above 300.
Whoa.
As we roll into the next week.
All right. I went a little more creative this week, and we were talking about our starting pitching and how good it's been. So I'm going to say between the next outing of Savale and Bybee, they will combined allow 4 runs or less between the two of them. And I think that's pretty good considering today's MLB and how many runs are getting scored.
Wow. Yeah.
4 runs or less between the two of them.
In the Guardians Inc. We are writing it in the Guardians Inc. Roger, what do you have to wrap this up?
Well, I missed mine this week, short of a triple with David Fry. Then you grabbed David Fry in the beginning, so I got to think of a new one. And I'm going to go with my lefty Allen.
Okay.
I'm going to get he threw 5 innings, really good 5 innings his last outing. I'm going to say he goes 7 innings. 7 innings and 2-run baseball.
Wow. Okay.
And we'll throw in 5 Ks as icing on the top.
There it is. Hey, who's building a parlay? Roger's got one for
So
you.
his next outing, you go 7 innings, only give up 2 runs. That should be a W.
Just so you know, Roger's got your parlay covered.
Better back my lefties.
With that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody who tunes in every week. It's been so much fun to do a baseball podcast as well. And we love doing it. We love being able to. So thank you everyone for your support. Any like on the YouTube video, the subscription on YouTube helps so much. So this has been an episode of Living the Guard Life. Nick, he's Jacob. That's Roger. Thanks for living the Guard Life with us.
A shrimp's heart and its head.
We'll catch you next time.